Thank you for the introduction. My name is Sandrea Mosses. I'm a medium that's based down in the West Midlands. I'm going to be that defined as actually South Staffordshire, which is part of the West Midlands. And my book has recently come out, Vanquishing Ghosts and Demons. I never set out to write a book. I didn't write a book. I didn't set out to do this work. I'm a medium, and through my work as a medium, on many occasions, because I'm a public demonstrating medium, I will be approached by people saying how I fell into this work. That's all I can say is I fell into it. I often joke and say to people, I'm afraid of the dark, and I end up vanquishing ghosts, and here I am suddenly don't turn the light off because I don't like it being too dark. I think I need to start off by saying, but what do I mean by ghosts? We all hear different things, we all hear different definitions of ghosts, and there are many different definitions of ghosts, but broadly, I don't want to spend the whole talk talking about it, we can put into categories. And the first category is not really a ghost, it's a phenomenon, and it's what we often refer to as an anniversary phenomenon, because every year, every 7 years, usually on the same date, the ghostly grey woman is seen walking across. She walks through walls because the doors are no longer there. And it's almost as if an event has been so bad, the incident has been so dramatic, that the very ether of the planet is tarnished. And it's almost like a record, keep replaying and replaying again, and the person reappears. There are cases upon cases of the anniversary ghosts. If you stand in front of one, they will walk straight through you. There's the visitation. There's a visitation. There has to be a connection between the property or the person, and the person will come back, a loved one who's passed on, a parent, a grandparent, they will just pop back to see you, just to check you're okay. And then we get the other extreme, where where somebody's got a connection with the property. They've lived there a long time, they've happy memories, and they'll just whisk in and whisk out and return back to their journey. And we do get lost souls. It does happen. It's a rare occurrence. It's a 0.000, but we do get lost souls. Souls that just can't find their way back again. Sometimes they've passed so quickly, they don't even know that they're dead, and that they need assistance to move over. And often the other side will use a medium. Why a medium? Because a medium can see, can sense, can communicate with that person. And often if you don't think you're dead, imagine somebody telling you are dead, it's going to be quite a traumatic experience for you. So that they will use the medium as the conduit to be able to help that person to get over the other side. And then we get those that don't want to pass over, probably because of the lifestyle that they've lived, they don't want to go. And then unfortunately we get elements, entities from the lower realms. They unfortunately find a way through here. I shall talk about in a short while. And they have never lived in this earth. They're not part of this earth, and when they get here, they wreak havoc when they arrive here. I don't try to frighten people when I do this talk. What I try to say is, this is out there. It's no good denying it. It's no good as pretending darkness doesn't exist, because it does. But what we can do is empower ourselves, and we can protect ourselves against it. And when it's too powerful for us, we can call on other people out there that can do it for us. So whilst it seems dark, no, it's not. It's showing that there is light there, and there is light out there to help you. So what's the difference between a visitation from my auntie, or whether I'm having an unwelcome entity? And there are many ways in which we can tell as to whether we've got somebody that's kind and friendly. And the physical signs, what we're going to notice first of all, we'll feel fear, we'll be afraid, we'll be frightened, we feel like somebody's watching us, obnoxious smells, feeling cold, the house feels dark, no matter how many lights you've got on, you can't get any light in there, arguments among the occupants for no apparent reason. And when I'm sensing that tells me there's something here that shouldn't be here, doesn't belong to this world. On the other hand, when a loved one comes through, if my mum's going to come through, or my dad, I'm going to feel love, I'm going to feel peace, I'm going to feel warmth, I'm going to feel light, and I'm going to feel calm. And that is how we tell that is how they tell the difference. They are masters of deception. If something is hell bent on coming here or has been let in somehow, they are masters of deception. They will stand and listen to you. They will stand and listen to what you say. then they will try to communicate with you. We'll say things like, I wonder if it's my mum. You know, she always said when she came, she'd tap and make a sound. Oh my goodness, they're tapping and making a sound, it must be mum. They're masters, that's what they're good at. They're good at trying to deceive us. The worst thing we can do is to communicate with them. We're far better to ignore them. When we communicate, we give them energy. What they're going to try to do is evoke fear. Fear to them is what food is to us. It is nutrition that keeps them going. You feed them with negative energy. So anything they can get you to feel fear is fear. And when we go, we'll add a bolt of energy. Yes, we create energy. We create, and that is what they're going to feed on. The more they feed on, the stronger that they become over time. So these are the classical things that we're going to look out for. That's going to tell us if we've got something there. Majority of that takes place. It takes place in the psychic. You do get things moved in the physical, things do happen, but most of it that's going to happen is going to be in the psychic. It's going to be in dreams. It's going to be just when you're waking up, and it's going to be these fear attacks that's going to take place. So if I'm going to deal with it, I'm going to have to deal with it through the psychic, and that's why a medium is the best tool to be able to, because they can see and they can deal with it. Am I special? I certainly don't think so. All I am is a tool. I'm a tool for the other side to be able to help and to be able to push them and take them over to the other side. They can be dangerous. Can they affect our health? Absolutely. Yes, not only our physical and mental health, but they can affect our physical health. They can make us physically ill, and by the negativity that they generate. So how do I deal with these? Well, I suppose if I'm fighting dark, I'm going to say, well, I'm a team light. Do I go out alone? Nope, I never go out alone. They're masters of deception. I want somebody with me that can verify what I'm seeing. So I usually go out with a team of 4 people. One of my team here, Lynn, is here with me today. And by using the 4 people, and by using methods where I won't tell them what we're up against, I won't tell them what I can see, I get clarification, I get validation of what it is that I'm up against. I get to see exactly, precisely what it is. Probably one of the hardest things that I felt to deal with was children, when children are involved, because we always think of children being vulnerable, think that children shouldn't be exposed to these things. And when I first started off, I would always insist that children were out the property. I didn't want children in the house. I wanted them out the way. And I went out to one case, and the woman had found me through I wrote an article in a magazine, and she'd found me through there and contacted me. And I said to her very specific, do not say in the house I'm coming. And I don't know why I said that, but do not say that I'm coming. And I got out there, the four of us arrived there, and there's nothing. And this house, breakfast stalls had stood up and turned round, ashtrays had flown across, the kettle had melted, things had been thrown, there'd been a fire, there were many things, nothing there at all. And we went, I searched that house from top to bottom, negative energy, cleansed the energy out. There's nothing I can do, I can't find anything. The next day, I have the woman back on the phone to me crying, saying I've terrible problems. There's nothing in your house, nothing in your house. And something in my house said, did you talk in the house to say I was coming? And she said, only to my husband. It's okay. So I got the team together again, and I went down, and I said, I want you to keep your son in the house. And I'm thinking, this is crazy. I'd never do this, but I want to keep your son in the house. And I get there, and there's this little boy sitting on mummy's lap, about 2 years old, with a dummy. And I walk in, and I say, hello. And he goes, EO. And my heart sinks, thinking, what on earth am I going to do here? I have faith in those upstairs, so I sat down, and I said to him, do you know any bad men? And out come the dummy, and he went, in broken English, yeah, bad man upstairs knows you're coming, bad man hiding from you, bad man in my bedroom. And his parents are going, he can't talk, yes. And I said, does your sister see a bad man? He said, yes. And then he pinched to show, and sister cry. And this child spoke to me for about 10 minutes. I was just astounded by what this child could say, what this child could say to me. I said, "What happened last time?" He said, "Bad man knew you were coming." He said, "Bad man hid in that house over there." And the husband said to me afterwards, "I can't believe that. Because that house over there, long before I married my wife, there were big things in the paper saying it was haunted. And there'd been investigations in the local paper." And he said, "Little boy over there." And apparently, after I'd gone, 2 hours later, the previous time, the door had opened and shut with such force, the whole house had shaken. And we knew where he was and we could deal with it. And, fortunately, I never heard from the people again. And another occasion, I arrived at the house and they weren't supposed to be there. The children, I got there, but it's one child. It's freezing cold outside, it's rain, it's crying. I can't send this child out in this weather. And so I put one of the team to work with this child. And we're working this big old house, 3 stories, and we're right at the back of the house on the story. "I can't find this. I don't think it's gone." And Patrick from downstairs shouts upstairs, Sandrea. Now come all the way to shout down the stairs. The little boy says it's hiding in the eaves. And the little boy, and then he kept shouting up, telling me what was going on. And so he was actually saying to me exactly what was going on. How did they get in? How did they get in? There's a number of ways in which they could get in. I mean, they could already be occupants of the house that you move in. And somebody selling that house is not going to say to you, "By the way, we've got loads of problems while we're getting rid of it." People don't talk about it. It's the unknown. We don't mention it. It's as if we feel embarrassed to talk about the fact that we're being pestered. It's because our people they will either think that we are mad, yes, we are crazy, yes, or we're making it up. It's our imagination. We often have these problems in people understanding. So we don't verbalise it. We don't talk to people. You don't go, "Hello, how are you? Oh, coming into the house, watch the ghost." We'll keep it very, very quiet. I went out to one property, and we started the house. There's not a problem at all. And we walked through into the kitchen. It was suddenly, wow, the whole of the kitchen area. And I said to them, "Is it always cold like this?" She said, "It never heats up. It's always exactly the same. It never changes. It never changes." She said, "Look, we've put another double radiator in there." And you could feel the crossover. And I said to them, they'd built this house themselves. I said, "You've knocked a house down to build here. There was another house." She said, "Yeah." And I said, "This is where the other house stood." They said, "Yeah, exactly in that spot." And there was an old man still living in that house. If you take away the house, he's still living in that house in the etheric. He may not be here, but it still sits there. And imagine how you would feel if you came home one day and somebody's in your house. You don't realise you're dead, and somebody's in your house. They've got rid of your belongings. They've moved your stuff. You're going to make their life as bad as you possibly can. And that's what they will do. And that's what they do. You're in their house. Somebody's moved in. And for them, that's fear. I'm not dealing with a bad spirit. We also get those that have been invited in. I'm not condemning the Ouija boards. I'm not condemning glass divination. What I do condemn is when it's done blindly, without discernment. Because the trouble is with an Ouija board or glass divination, it depends on where it sits. It depends on how you protect the board and what you allow in. You wouldn't on a Saturday night leave your front door wide open and go, come on in. You'd check, wouldn't you? You'd vet people. You wouldn't invite the whole street to walk into your door if you didn't know them. But that's what you're doing, you're inviting in. And it depends on where your house sits. If your house sits on a ley line, an energy line, whatever you want to call it, a spirit pathway, the odds are that you're going to get more people coming in, you're going to get good ones. But I also believe if you're on a node, it depends on whether that's a positive or a negative node, depends on what you open up down into the underworld. And when you let from the underworld in, they will wreak havoc. And they will not go until they're forced out. A node is a crossover of the ley lines. The ley line system, and it depends how major it is, and depends on whether it's been contaminated. I never caught on. I live just outside Wolverhampton, and I never caught on to a place called Coven. And I lived there, and suddenly I caught on coven, and it was renowned for black magic. And so if they've contaminated that ley line and they've contaminated those nodes, they've opened doorways down, and if you're across those, you're going to have, you're going to have some problems there. I have on my website, I have pictures, and I had West Midlands Radio come out to disprove. And what this family have gone through has been absolute hell. I mean, how they have lived through what they have lived through. And they are so philosophical, it's just unbelievable. When you have a 4-year-old look at you and say, don't ever play with an Ouija board, they are doorways to hell. You don't expect a 4-year-old to be able to say that. I mean, this little girl, I had to clean the house with her in the room, and I had to clean the house with nods. Lynn was there, and I'm nodding, and she's going, oh, she's been pushed through a doorway. Oh, she's gone through a doorway. Oh, she's back out again. Oh, she's going through a doorway. Oh, she's not happy. Oh, she's not happy. Oh, they're closing in. And she was we're not saying a word. She's describing everything that I'm doing, the colour I'm putting through, the energy we're pushing through, and she saw everything, and she could explain everything. They had, I put some videos up, and straight away you get the negativity. It's made up. The BBC said that. And when they went up the stairs, there was a wooden stepladder spinning on the stairs, and it stops, and it spins the other way. And when they went upstairs, there's just brick walls. There's nowhere it could be spun from. It's just a solid wall. You couldn't reach over and hold it, and this stepladder is spinning. So we said, why don't you go on the stairs? Because she throws it at us when we go on the stairs. Yeah, she actually throws it at us. So we have to wait until she finished. Oh, it was the little girl told me. I had all the children out of the house, and we went and did the clearance. And the little girl came running in the house, and she went, Mummy, you've had somebody here to get rid of Jezebel. She is so angry. She really is angry. She's going to harm us now. And Jezebel, I looked it up. It's a demonic force. It's a demon. She's a female demon, and that I could actually trace that one. Sometimes you can't always trace them. Their dogs were dropping down dead. The cats were dropping down dead. Knives would stick to walls. They would go out of the room. And they'd hear a sound. And they'd go back in the room, and all their bed would have been folded in half, their mattress folded in half, their bedding folded in half. And then, as if toying with them, a picture of Archangel Michael stuck on the top of it, and Metatron, as if to say, help, are they? And they could shut the door and open it again, it will be back to normal. They would have heavy furniture being dragged everywhere. They woke up the one day to see this black hag over the baby. The one sister, and she would, the little girl would say, oh, she doesn't like her, she's going to harm her, Mummy, we've got to get her out of the house, she's going to harm her. And she walked into, it felt like they'd just thrown a television in her face and bloodied her nose and blacked her eyes. In the force that it was working with. You could actually see black shadow men running across the walls, and in there when we went in there at first. And the only way that they've been able to do it is to move out. And the sun moved out diagonally across and from them, and we actually captured pictures in the car. We actually captured pictures in the car, in the mirror. She was sitting in the back of the car. I mean, demons don't need a car; they can travel without a car. But she was actually sitting in the back of the car, laughing at them and moving from house to house. So, you think that these things, can't happen. But unfortunately, to some people, they do happen. I have many pictures. I couldn't do it here because I don't have PowerPoints. I've got some. I've never taken pictures. I don't go out to prove anything. I don't have EMF meters. I don't have photographs. I don't do anything. Voice boxes, nothing. All I'm not interested in proving. I'm interested in protecting that family. So all I want to know is that Lynn is seeing the same as me. She can sense the same as me, and we've both got the same. We're locked in. We've got it, and I want that from all four. And I'm not going to do anything to all four of us, because 4 together we are powerful. Yes, 3 together we're powerful. Yes, we're far more powerful than they are, because we've got the force of 4 and we've got our workers behind us that's going to give us the power to be able to deal with them. On my own, I'm weak. It can fool me, it can deceive me, it can tell me things I'm not going to quite know what it's saying to me. But when I have people with me, I have the power to be able to fight with it, and to be able to deal with it. But I do have some pictures, only because people have given me the pictures. And I wish I'd have kept the sequence. I had a lovely picture. A little boy is listening to Mummy's tummy, and Mummy's pregnant, and you can see a big lump, and she's listening to. And then suddenly you see his face change, and she's got her arm round him. He's got his head here and a tummy, and then here appears a hand with six fingers. Well, 5 digits, but the thumb would be down there, so there's 6, and they're pointed and black. And it's as if the hand's just come there just to torment. Yes? The hand has just come there, it just suddenly appeared. But I'll finish on a nicer note, is that Mum's in the garden watching little boy out on his bike, and she gets, iPhone or dewy-eyed, and takes a picture of him. Doesn't look at it for a few days. Goes to her phone and she looks at it, and there's a little boy on his little bike. And there's another picture of him. You can't work out how it's done, because he's on his little plastic bike. He's about 2.5 years old. And there he is, standing alongside. She took the one picture on her iPhone. But when she looks, the other little boy hasn't got gloves on. And her little boy has. And when she looks again, he's standing in such a way that you couldn't stand. He's standing on his tiptoes and his knees bent. In an impossible position. If he'd have done that, he would have fallen over. And coincidentally, she takes this picture and she looks at it a few days before one of the team is going round to see her sister about some Avon. Interesting. And she said, "Oh, look at this picture." So of course Dean comes back to us. We'll go down and sort it. Went down there, and so we went down there. And this garden, they'd spent £2,000 on this garden, and she was quite a green finger before we got there. And they'd actually had people come in and landscape it. And the garden is barren. There's dirt patches. I've had enough lawns down there. Don't go there. Don't ask, she says to us. And we stood there, and it was so still. Nothing. Not a bird. Not a breeze. And I said, "Do you put your washing out?" She said, "You're wasting your time, I can't dry it." She said, "Nothing shifts." She said, "I can't grow anything." And we tuned in together, and you're thinking, I can't believe I'm seeing this. I'm going to wait and see if they're as crazy as I am. And slowly one of the other team says, "You're not going to believe this. I can see elementals deep down in the ground." "Oh, I've got that too," they're describing them. And what we found was a pool of black negativity, and these elements, these fairies, whatever you want to call them, sprites, just sitting there. The flow had gone. The area was contaminated, and something had contaminated their space. And it's as if they set that up. They created that picture so that we could get to go out there. And we cleared the area out, and when we cleared it out, and the breeze started, you could actually feel a breeze. After we'd cleared it, you think, "Oh my goodness, I can actually, my hair seems to be moving a little bit here, I can feel a breeze here." And they reported back to me 3 weeks later that the garden was growing again. All the bare patches had gone in the grass was lush, flowers were growing in the baskets. So the other side can work, and the other side does work to try to send help to you. Time and time again, people have been sent to me. Coincidentally, I've spoken to somebody who's knows somebody, and we've been able to go out there and help. So it's never without hope. There's always hope there that somebody can help. You don't have to put up with this. You don't have to put up with it. So if you do think, it's the same conclusion, if you do feel that you're in this situation, you do feel that you're being tormented by by anything, look what I've said. Is it cold? I've been in houses where a bedroom has got a 150-watt bulb and you can't see the person on the other side of the room. You literally cannot see them on the other side of the room, and that's with the bulb, with the light on. I've stood in front of gas fires and I can't feel any heat, and they're on full belt because it's so dark and dense in there. Sense, is there anything here? And call for assistance, ask for help, but do not communicate with them. Every communication, every time you communicate, you send energy to them. Okay. Have I talked enough? Have I gone on long enough? Okay. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions?
Sorry? Yes, they can. Yeah, you can send voodoo. Yeah, people can. Do you mean, is that what you mean? People can send black magic. Absolutely.
So it doesn't have to be the house, it follows you from the rest.
Oh yes, it can follow you. It can follow you. People think if I move, it's not going to come with me, but it can come with you. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, that's it. You know, it's almost like as if they're in the removal van. You know that they're when that house with that little girl, when they moved out, they did a midnight flit, and then left most of their furniture behind. They were that desperate to get away. They did a midnight flit, and they got there, and she said the little girl said, I'll say her name. No, I won't because it is big. I changed the name in the book so people didn't know who she was. She said she'll find us, Mummy. She's looking for us. She'll find us. Yeah, she'll find us. I had to go back there the one day and I said, do you know why I'm here? And she said, yes. She said, I've been talking Latin in my sleep. Yeah, and this little girl was absolutely amazing. The things, yeah, this little girl. And she said, do you want to see my drawings? So she got out her drawings and she said, see this. She said, this is a force field that they've given me to put around me and my brother. And if I put this force field, and she'd drawn this force field. And she said, by now she's 6, I've gone back. She was 4 at first, she's 6. I said, what do you think's happened here? And she said, I slept too near that portal. She said, I think I've let something out. And telling me she goes off of a night time, visiting other dimensions. 13th was her favourite place to go. She's 6 years old, you know, and she used to talk to me. It made me realise, don't you worry about children because they're protected. Because she used to say to me, she used to say to me, she says, well, she's 2 people really. She's Jezebeth and Rebecca. When she's Jezebeth, she takes her face off. She takes her face off. I said, what's behind? She's full of worms and bugs and the things that you just thought she was saying, well, actually I'm not very keen on princesses. You know, just so matter of fact. And I had that every single time. Yeah, yes, she was Rebecca to her. And she got her to befriend her. And then, of course, but she'd been in the property that had problems for years. And that was an Ouija board. And a Ouija board done in a place where there'd been black magic in the place was a disaster. So, and I've been back, and I think I'll always have to keep going back. You know, I managed to push it away, and until they move property, move out the way. There's nothing I'm going to be able to and do for them. So just be there and just keep going out and flattening her.
Does the energy can their form change, come back and slightly different?
They can't. They can't normally come back. It's rare for them to come back. But what's happened with this one is it came from another property, and I can't get in that other property to shut the door. Yes, and she's told me that, the little girl. She said the difficulty is you can't get back and shut that door. I keep going, yes, I know. Yeah, once you shut that door, we'll be fine. You've got to get back in that house. And I feel like going and knocking the door because they keep moving out that house. I've just got to copy it when they don't stay long in it. I've just got to copy it when it's empty, and then I will go in and shut that door. If I can get in and shut that door. I've tried it. She's too powerful. She's a demon. She just, she has access. You know, she uses shadow men. She has teams with her. They're very long, thin. They're like her soldiers, yeah? Very long, thin.
Foot soldiers.
They're foot soldiers. You know, you can watch them walk across the wall, yes? You know, she'll never be as strong as that because we don't let her get strong again, yeah? But that's her doorway back in. So, but normally, you push them to the doorway, unless you invite them back in again, and they will do anything they can to reach you. You've just got to be strong. I mean, I can't make people strong. You've got to refuse to talk to them. You've got to refuse to send them energy and refuse to communicate with them in any way, shape or form to stop them coming back in. Oh, that's it, yeah. I would say to people, just don't. It's going to try and come back. Refuse. But that's where you can call on your guides to help you. You've only got to say to your guides, help me, protect me. Yeah.
No,
Oh, right, sorry.
I said they didn't.
Any more questions? No? Nobody's got any questions? Do you know, sometimes I do get scared, but not for very long. I'm afraid of the dark, it's a joke.
I'm thinking like it's terrifying.
Yeah, when I get there, I am different. I can be, when I get there, something takes over me, yes? But like, if there's somewhere, and we went to stay down Wales, and we stayed at this old chapel, and there was graveyards in there, and I was, oh, I can't walk past those graveyards, and she's calling me a Jessie. I can't walk past the graveyards, so that's me. But put me in the situation, and I'm afraid of nothing. They have hurt me. I've been hurt in the past. I went and helped somebody when I shouldn't have helped them, and I ended up in hospital. And as I was in A&E, and I was on back-to-back nebulizers, they were still coming at me. And in fact, at one point, I went, "You win," and somebody went to me, "Fight, fight." So I'm actually, lying on the air, fighting this and trying to fight back. I was bad for about 3 weeks because of it. And it was a lesson to me. Don't go out unless you're strong enough. And don't go out unless you're strong enough. I went out. They will always go for me because I'm leading it. Every time I'm going to be, they will often knock me off. I can just standing there and they will just knock me backwards. So if they can get me out of this, they've got a better chance. Yes, they know that I'm the one who's leading. Otherwise, so I'm the one that they're going to go. I'm the one that they're going to go for. So they take on all different forms. They will go from something black, like crab-like. There's a totally, I've seen hydras, masses of black snakes. I've seen single black snakes. I've seen them down looking like gargoyles. That's insult gargoyles. I don't think gargoyles are bad. Down to be this little, always dark. The energy is always dark. They're always black. Is what they're seeing. I've seen 7-foot faceless monks. That's so powerful you don't even integrate with them when you're trying to deal with them. I've seen hags. There's just a whole list of them. But often they're shapeshift. They'll take on whatever shape, which is why you're looking for them. Especially if you're looking for somebody that's sent voodoo. Voodoo is an energy in motion. It's been sent. It's going to go. It's going to keep coming for you, and it's going to keep looking for you until it's sent away. And we went to one, and it was just like a black ball with legs running over the ceiling and just trying to get everything, trying to get away from us. It was in the cupboard. And that.
Is that the same? If you said voodoo, is that the same as black magic?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just a different version of it. We got to this house. We were walking down the street. We were chatter. There was 4 of us. We chatted down the street, and suddenly, as we went to approach this house, there was a light on this house. And we stopped. And we went, "Look at that! There was like a beam of light all the way down the house. There was nowhere for the light to come from. There was nowhere. There was nothing to shine on it." And when we got in the house, and in this house, the little boy his bed had been thrown across the room with him in it. All his shoes had been collected together in about 5 minutes, and all the laces knotted in the middle, 20 pairs, like all together, and 20 single shoes, all knotted together. It took them hours to undo it. And when we got there, we couldn't find it. Where was it? In the corner of the gable end where the light was. It was hiding in the corner. It's almost as if somebody had shone a spotlight on it. Yeah. And we're thinking, what's that light from? I wonder what it's doing. We were just fascinated by it. But then when you look, what they were doing is they were telling us before we even got there, that is where you've got to look. That is where you need to. That is where you need to look. They will visit me, and they will visit Lynn sometimes in your dreams the night before, the day before. And if it's not safe to go, they'll say to me, don't go. Or if I haven't got enough people to do it, they'll say to me, take more. Take more. They will actually tell me how many people it is I need. And if I'm going to go fight something like Jezebeth, I'm going to take at least 6, because I'm going to have to need double power here to be able to deal with this. It's
Do they ever manifest themselves to people who haven't got the gift?
Oh yes. Yes, the family will describe them, and just seeing them waking up and seeing them on top of seeing them seeing them on top of them, seeing them in the room. I had one. I don't know whether you've heard about incubuses and succubuses. They're entities that have sexual relationships with their victims, but they aren't a sexual relationship. What they're doing, they're trying to get to that energy. They're trying to get to your life force. Where's your life force energy? It's in your spine, and that's what they're trying to do. Well, to get there, they've got to go through certain cavities to be able to reach it. And this entity had followed this girl home, and it had left her for a while. It had come back with a vengeance, and when it came back the second time, its hair had grown. Yeah. So it had hair. It had gone for 2 years. It had short hair, and it come back with long hair. And she described him as looking like a mechanic because he got dirty, greasy overalls on. Yes, and she always got the smell of burnt cookies when he was going to appear. Of course, you imagine what happened as soon as she smelled burnt cookies. And she'd see him in the reflection of the television in her bedroom. He would actually appear to her. Yes, of course, now he's got the fear. He's got power over you. And that's why I will always take a group of people, because if I lose, I've given them all the power. It's a psychic gap battle. So if I'm there trying to deal with them, I'm trying to banish them and trying to get them over, and we're using all this psychic energy to get them over. If it overcomes me and beats me, right, and I can't do it, it's took all that power and all that energy, and you imagine what it's going to do to that family now. It's going to wreak havoc with that family. So I will not go until we've done it. Yes, I don't care how long. I mean, we've battled for 2 hours. And when you're battling for 2 hours mentally and you're chasing something around, it's coming back at you and you're trying to find it. And, in fact, I think we've done 2.5 hours. I will not go until I'm happy that property's clear. So, yes, it takes a massive bump of energy to be able to produce themselves, yes? And they will only do that if it's in their interest. They want to frighten you, yes, and it's going to be in a way that's going to frighten you. Face up here, yes. Yeah, do you understand me? Calling your name in the middle of the night, yes. Blast of cold air on your face, yes. Anything to frighten you. That's what it's there for. It's not they're bad people. They don't know love. They've come from a different dimension. They've come from a dimension that doesn't understand love. It's a psychic world where they live. This is how they live. This is the plane they live on. And that's why there's a protective field around the earth that protects them. And we break that ether when we do certain things, and we practice black magic, and we open a doorway, and once they're here, they're not going to go. Yes, and they'll do anything to stay. I've had women saying, this entity has been pleading, going, "Mummy, mummy, mummy." I've had women crying, saying, "I think it's the baby I lost." They'll do anything. Masters of deception. Don't care what it is they've got to do. They'll use anything that they can to stay here. Yeah. Yes, it is. It's a totally different world to ours, yes. I think it's just all a psychic existence. Yes, yes. Yeah, I think it's destruction of each other. That's what exists there, yeah. I think it's destruction and battles of each other. That's why. If you read about the underworld, they talk about, the legions of armies, and they'll talk about fights, psychic battles taking place down there, destruction. And I think that's what the world that they come from. They can't understand love. They have no concept of kindness, of love.